So let's start together by reciting Namo Tassa again, remembering the qualities of our dear teachers, and we go together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammāsambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammāsambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammāsambuddhassa. This last word, the Sammāsambuddhassa, is the word mainly that we will be exploring today. So this, when we pay respect to the Buddha, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammāsambuddhassa, homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. In previous sessions of this series, you already explored with Bhante Ariya, I think, the Bhagawa. What is the meaning of Bhagawa when we say Bhagavan? And then with Bhante Sumana, you explore the Arahant. What is the meaning? Why we call the Buddha an Arahant, right? That was what happened, no? So you explore there. And today we are going to the third part, which is the Sammāsambuddha or Sammāsambuddhassa. What does it mean to be a Sammāsambuddha? So what we're gonna do today is we are going to explore the similarities of more than that. We will see what is a Sammāsambuddha. We will see what is an Arahant and what is a Paccekabuddha, because as we know, all of them are enlightened. But very often, I had many questions in the past, teacher, but if all are enlightened, what are the differences? So Bhante Ariya Dhammika suggested that we do this exploration and we will get to know very well what is a Sammāsambuddha, and we will clear out, I'm sure, many questions that you might have from the past between what are they, the Arahant, the Paccekabuddha, and the Sammāsambuddha. And we will see their differences and what things they have in common. The first thing that I can say is that the three of them, the Arahant, the Paccekabuddha, and the Sammāsambuddha, are states of, they are beings who have mental states that are highly developed in purity and understanding. So let's start looking at what are they. And one of the surprises that I have for all of you is that actually we are not so far. I mean, we need to train and we need to practice and learn many things, but actually an Arahant, a Paccekabuddha, and Sammāsambuddha once were just like you and me. Exactly, just human beings that born in this realm, and then they decided to start developing their mind, purifying their mind, and then gradually start making their mind more refined, taking the impurities out until they reach enlightenment, the fourth stage of enlightenment as an Arahant, and then possibility to become a Paccekabuddha and a Sammāsambuddha. We will see what kind of things they did to arrive to that. So the good news that I have is that actually we have that potentiality, and in this next slide you will see this is one way that I used to explain this. It helps me a lot. So I call it the mental spectrum, the spectrum of our minds. So on one side, I think it will appear on the left side of your screen, you can see that we have sense desire, sensual world, sensual pleasures. We pursue, we like to see beautiful things, right? Normally we like to see beautiful things, right? We like to smell beautiful smells, taste tasty, yummy food, hear beautiful sounds, touch pleasant things, our bed, or feel the touch of our clothes, etc. And the mind, so this is the world we know. We are connected through the world through the five senses, actually six senses. The mind is also making a collage of everything that enters through the five doors, the eyes, the ears, the tongue, etc. The mind is making this collage, understanding, and having some reactions. So that is the lowest, the easiest way. Nobody needs to learn or train nothing to like to see beautiful things. Did anybody, when you were a child, told you, oh, this is a beautiful thing, you should like it? Nobody taught us. We naturally like the beautiful thing. And when we had something that we didn't like, some aversion may develop naturally. Did anybody, ever your parents came, oh, my son, oh, my daughter, today I will teach you something very important in life. I will teach you how to get angry. Raise your hand if somebody taught you to get angry. Somebody? Nobody raises the hand. Even a newborn baby knows how to get angry. Have you seen? If you don't give them milk immediately, they cry, and the sound of their cry, sometimes you can hear the dosa. Even the tongue stays like a little bit like in pause like this. So this is the sensual world where nobody needs to learn anything, do nothing. Is that we can put it in the lowest scale of our mental ability. But you will see there are more surprises. Now, as we grow older and we start appreciating the goodness of our mind, we start cultivating it. We start going beyond, and through study, as we go to school, meditation, we start calming our mind and purifying it. So that is the next level. I hope we all know how to meditate, and we are doing it. And we are bringing our mind not just from enjoying the sensual pleasures, but also enjoying the non-seeing, enjoying the non-hearing, enjoying the peace, enjoying the stillness. And this starts helping our mind becoming more subtle, more receptive, more sharp, more concentrated, and eventually more wise. So we can see here, we continue on the spectrum. As we are going, then we can even develop our meditation to the degree of jhana. And then when the jhanas are there, wow, very, very powerful mental states that our mind can achieve. And then eventually, if we are there and capable, we can get enlightened. And even for any of us, if we have the potential and the wish, we can even become a Buddha eventually. We know this information from before, right? So let me see, I will put the camera somewhere here. So now, as you can see in the bottom of the page, now you can see that we have from one side of the spectrum, sorry, I will put the camera up here. Yeah, better there. Okay, so on one side of the spectrum, we have the mundane side, the mundane part of our mind. Then in there, we have akusala and kusala. We can get angry or feel desire or lust, but we also feel generosity, wisdom, concentration, kindness, etc. And then we develop more to meditation, and then the jhanas, and then something happens here for a mind. All of these things that you can see, akusala, kusala, meditation, and jhanas, are still on the worldly side of our mind, the mundane side of our mind. But then if we go further and we cross over, we get to the supramundane part of our mind. And here is where things get very interesting, where Arahants, Paccekabuddhas, you will see now, and Sammāsambuddhas live. Here is where we are going. Enlightenment happens. We get full understanding of an eradication of mental negativity, and something very special happens to our mind. So now we go exploring the topic of the day. We see in one side, okay, so enlightenment, supramundane, we already crossed from the worldly, no more sense desires, even beyond the jhanas. And then we have the Sammāsambuddha over there, but we have the other two members of this side of our mind, which we have the potential. This is something very important to keep in mind. You and I can reach these mental states through cultivation, sila, samadhi, and panya. Now we have the Arahant, and then we have the Paccekabuddha, and the Sammāsambuddha, and now we will pass. I hope you are getting curious. What are they, if you don't know, or what other things we can learn? I hope, and I am almost sure that we will learn and clarify many things today. So let's continue. These are the topics that we will be exploring. So, as you know, I put this Arahant. You may say, why this Arahant has beard and hair? You remember when the Buddha, his first teaching, he taught to the Paccavaggiyya, to the 5 friends, and the first one who understood that day was Venerable Kondanya. That's why I put this picture. You might have said, why is this Arahant not bald-headed and dressed like a monk? Well, this was just before, when he became enlightened as a Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment. Then he and the other 4 friends, in the second teaching of the Buddha, they became full Arahants. That's why I pick him now as our subject that we'll be exploring. So let's see what happened for what is an Arahant first. I come this side. And an Arahant, let's start with the word, what is the meaning and the translation normally is Arahant means somebody that is enlightened, an enlightened being. Let's check out the etymology of the word. The root of the word Arahant is arah, which means to deserve, to be worthy, literally the worthy one. So very often, when we see the translations of Arahant, Sammāsambuddha, you remember, we have the worthy one, because that's literal translation of it. Worthy of what? Worthy of respect, worthy of hospitality, worthy of generosity and gifts, because that person has a very pure mind. If we support such a kind of being, even our merit, it's amplified greatly because we are supporting such a goodness. And I come back again, we all have that potential inside already. We can develop this. So that is the meaning of Arahant. So now let's continue here exploring. This person is an enlightened being, and why, we may ask, why is an Arahant an Arahant? An Arahant is somebody who was able to purify his or her mind to the degree that there is no more wrong views, there is no more aversion, no more desire, lust, or obsession with anything. Somebody who was able to uproot from the very bottom all the asavas. You remember sometimes we recite Iname Punyang, Iname Asawakayam Waham Hotu. This is what we are aspiring now, to take all the asavas, all the mental outflows, the things that make our mind smelly, literally, or sick. We take it away. We take all the desire, all the aversion, and all the ignorance. At least the one, that ignorance, we will see that it has degrees of understanding and wisdom. So another thing that makes an Arahant is that that person, he or she, understood or saw in direct experience the three characteristics of reality, as we have heard, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. He understood very well that everything is changing. Everything, because of that change, is unsatisfactory, nothing to hold, anything, anyway, everything is going to disappear. What do I hold or call mind? Everything is just borrowed. And also there is not a self in the back of all process, even in our minds. So he understood that. And also something very important is that that person, and how did he do that? By understanding the Four Noble Truths. He recognized that there is suffering. He saw it, he recognized it, saw that the cause of suffering is attachment, and released it, let it go, knew that there was relief from that, there is the possibility to get enlightened, and the path to get enlightened. So this is something that even the Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment, we will explore what are they also now, gets it. So let's go to see why sometimes people say, if we want to explain Arahant, it's important to know what is a Sotapanna, a Sakadagami, and an Anagami. So I have one example that I really like. It has been very useful for me. So this mental culture is something very natural. It's something that happens in nature. We already have this nature. So let's take a look. This example has really helped me. So for example, we can say that when we start cultivating ourselves, we start planting the seeds of wisdom. When we are able to plant it, and then the seed germinates, it's when we put the seed on the ground, there is nothing yet. We are just worldlings. We are just still on the world. But as the seed is planted and it germinates, we say like that, no? Yeah, when the seed sprouts, then is when the Sotapanna, let's say in our example, is when the Sotapanna arises. But then, as we know, if we continue watering this plant, watering this little plant, and putting the right conditions around, it grows a little bit bigger, and then it becomes a Sakadagami. So it is, you can imagine the same thing happening to our mind. Naturally, from sprouting, the fruit doesn't become a tree. It takes time, and there are some processes that needs to go beyond, in between. Then, if we continue watering with wisdom, watering with sila, watering with samadhi, watering with all the good qualities, that mind, that little plant, our mind becomes an anagami, a non-returner. The one was once returner, this is a non-returner. And if we continue watering this beautiful plant, this beautiful mind that we have, then at some point, the mind is fully grown, fully purified, and then it becomes an Arahant. So this is an example that really helps me. It's something that happens natural. How? I already mentioned that that person must have before eradicated the asavas, the mental impurities. So it happens naturally that the harshest or the coarsest or the more gross asavas are the ones that start fading and going from the beginning. It's like cleaning a house. When we clean our mind, for example, we get to a new house, it was not used for many years. If we want to clean and live in this house, make it beautiful, the first thing that we need to do at the beginning is take out the rubbish, the big pieces, or many pieces here, many objects that are useless. We take them out. Later, we get the broom and then we start sweeping. Later, when we finish sweeping, we get the duster and then we start undusting. And later, we can even polish the floor, right? The same happens with our mind. Naturally, when in the first stage of enlightenment, the person releases the wrong view, the attachment to the self, and the doubt, and then the desire and anger decreases. Then the Sakadagami decreases that desire and anger more, and the Anagami, the mind is so powerful that it eradicates them, but there are still some finer impurities, like the attachment to finer worlds, or the ego stays in. Then eventually the Arahant is able to uproot all of them. So now we can understand that the Arahant actually, it's a very, very pure-minded being. You and I have this potential, fortunately, and we can cultivate it. So that is what makes an Arahant, because all the asavas were eradicated. And then that Arahant can teach others. He can share, especially even as monks that are on the way learning. We can share the Dhamma. Imagine somebody who has arrived to the end of the road. He can clearly tell you, here you turn to the right, and then you find this, and then you turn to the left, and then you arrive. You take such and such bus or plane, and then you arrive to Arahantship. So an Arahant can teach another person in the Dhamma, according to his ability. So, to recap, we said that the Arahant understands the Four Noble Truths, and he uses the map of the Noble Eightfold Path. But wait a second. Wait a second. The Arahant uses a map which is the Noble Eightfold Path: Sila, Samadhi, Panya, morality, cultivate his moral behavior, purify his mind with Samadhi and Panya. But wait a second, who made that map? And here is when we come to the next person that needs to be taken into account. Who discovered the Four Noble Truths? Because the Arahant understood them, but he didn't discover them. He followed the Noble Eightfold Path, but he didn't make it. Who was the pioneer? The one who went first through the jungle of suffering, through the jungle, the forest of negativity, mental impurities. Who was the first one with the machete, was cutting all the obstacles so the ones in the back can come through? Who opened the path? And that, my dear family, is the Sammāsambuddha. Right here behind me, the Sammāsambuddha, the one who opened the path, the one who made the map, and now all the Arahants of the past have followed it, and we, all of us, future Arahants, isn't it? We, all of us, future Arahants, are following that path, are having the map. This is the Dhamma. This is the great contribution of the Sammāsambuddha, of the Buddha we know. He is a Sammāsambuddha, and now we will understand why is he a Sammāsambuddha. We already got some clues. He is the one who discovered the Four Noble Truths. He is the one who makes the path. So, he is the one who recognized suffering. First of all, the Buddha, when he was the Prince Gautama, he was just there, but at some point in his life, he recognizes, well, I suffer, and others suffer as well. We all know that we suffer. Raise the hand, the one who knows that suffers. Let me see. Who knows that? Do you suffer? Raise the hand. If you suffer, raise your hand. Yes. Here we are. Here we are. If we know that we suffer, we already know. But then the Buddha went a little bit further. Well, not little bit, a lot further. He started asking seriously, what is the cause? Why do I suffer? Why do other people suffer? And that was, we also ask, oh, why do I suffer? What is the cause of this? But he went further and he said, okay, I will relinquish everything, the palace, the family, everything I will relinquish, renounce, in order to set out and find the cure, to be free from suffering, to be free from it. This is what he did. And then he discovered the Four Noble Truths, precisely how it goes, and the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the fourth Noble Truth. And then he did all that without a teacher. Here we going, why he's a Sammāsambuddha. But before getting there, let's explore in the same way the meaning of the word Sammāsambuddha. So here it is, the Sammāsambuddha. Let's get to the beginning of the word. Samma means completely, thoroughly, fully. Sambuddha, or Sambuddha in nominative when we use Sang and Bud. The important part is the Bud, the root of the word, which means to wake up, to awaken, or to know. So the Sammāsambuddha is translated, the one who has completely awakened. We can translate it literally, or the one who has completely understood. Suffering, the cause of suffering, the liberation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is what we know about the Four Noble Truths. And most importantly, he did all that without the help of nobody. There was no teacher. You remember he had teachers before, and he learned how to meditate and he even have the jhanas, but he didn't get enlightened. He needed to go by himself, to go through and understand all this without the help of any teacher. That's why he's unsurpassed. He made the map, and he did it by understanding Paccekabuddha, or dependent origination. And what tool did he use to get all this knowledge and to meditate, stabilize his mind? He used something that we all know how to do. Anapanasati. We all know how to contemplate our breath. He went so deep. Never underestimate this tool. So simple it is, our own breath. He used that breath to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the nature of reality until he understood the cause of suffering, using both kinds of meditation. Samatha, one-pointedness concentration, one object, and Vipassana, using understanding anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So that is what the Sammāsambuddha, or our Buddha, Gautama the Buddha, did in order to arrive to become that. The one that completely awoke, the one who completely understood, a Sammāsambuddha. He makes the map, and all of us are following that map, and the Arahants have gone through the end of the map that the Buddha gave. This is one of the main differences between an Arahant and a Sammāsambuddha. Another characteristic of the Sammāsambuddha is that a Sammāsambuddha has the ability to make the Dhamma wheel turn. He can re-establish the Dhamma. In times of darkness, when there is no Dhamma, not much morality, as it is understood and explained by the Buddha, Samadhi and wisdom specifically, he has the ability to turn on the Dhamma, to turn on the teaching. That teaching stays for some time, and then it disappears as anything in the world. When that teaching disappears, there is a long, long time of darkness. When people and beings don't appreciate morality, imagine if right now in the world, there is little appreciation for morality, and look how many problems we have. Imagine with no Dhamma, no appreciation for Sila, very dark moments, until another Sammāsambuddha comes back and turns the wheel again, and the Dhamma springs again. Now, for all of us, we are very lucky, because cosmically, the Buddha passed away a few days ago. Really, 2,500 years ago is very short for the age of the earth. or the universe, we still have the sound of the Dhamma, the books, we have the teachers. So we are very lucky to have Sammāsambuddha came, opened the Dhamma, and we are benefiting from it. So another thing that we can explore, some qualities of the Buddha. What is a Sammāsambuddha? We can find it in the Samyutta Nikaya 22, Sutta number 58. Is where the Buddha himself described the qualities of a perfectly enlightened one. So let's take a look at them. You can take a screenshot of it. Let me make the camera a little bit smaller. So this is what the Buddha says. The perfectly enlightened one is the originator of the path and arisen before, the producer of the path and produced before, the declarer, the knower, the discoverer, the one who discovered, the one skilled in the path. And then his disciple now dwell following that path and become possessed of it afterwards. They become the path. They arrive to the end of the path, the enlightenment, the awakening. And here you have it. Please take a screenshot. This is the essence. I cut. As it is said, the best way to pay homage to the Buddha is by practicing the Dhamma, by following the path, following his instructions. So, more details about the Sammāsambuddha. Don't worry, I know I'm saying many things. If you are taking notes, I see somebody taking notes, it's fine. But don't worry, all of this is being recorded and it will be posted in YouTube. If you are interested or some friend of you is interested about this topic, they can visit it again. You can visit and slowly you can go back and forth and get all these details. I will be saying many things will stay, don't worry, and we will have a clear idea. So, Sammāsambuddha arises in the universe at a given period only one by one. There is not a moment when there are two Buddhas together, Sammāsambuddhas. And this is important for the place we are going now. They are very rare, as I mentioned, because they last a human life, they give their teaching, and that teaching, the sasana, depends on all of us to keep it alive. The work of the Buddha was finished in 45 years that he taught. He passed away into Parinibbana, and he left the Dhamma to all of us, many generations in the past. Now it's in our hands. It is now our responsibility, you and I, to move the Dhamma forward to the next generations. So that will depend on all of us in the conditions of the world. So it is something very rare and very precious. For a Sammāsambuddha to become, it takes very long time for him to be prepared. As it says, an incomparable with any other being. Nothing can compare to a Sammāsambuddha. Why? Why are they so precious? Because they can teach somebody else clearly how to reach Nibbana, how to achieve final liberation from all suffering. So, when we want to know more information about what is a Sammāsambuddha, we recite that very often. We say, Iti piso bhagava arahant Sammāsambuddho vichacharana sampanno sukhato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanam buddho bhagavati. Right? This is what we're doing in this series, but I won't tell you more about the other ones. You know something from before. Now we are learning about the Sammāsambuddha, and don't miss the next sessions. It is coming. We will learn very clearly what is it. So, Sammāsambuddha, we can summarize it as the pioneer who makes the path for all of us and the Arahants to follow. We already saw that both of them understood the noble truths. Both of the Arahant and the Sammāsambuddha understood the Four Noble Truths and purified the mind from the asavas. So in the past, I came with this question to my teacher, Bhante, Sayadaw, but I don't understand. The Arahant understand the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha also. The Arahant, eradicator of mental impurities, both are enlightened. What is the difference? And that time, he gave me a wonderful example that I never forgot. So I would like to share it with you. He told me the following. Imagine if you go to a graduation. Imagine we get to the graduation, we are in the university, and we see many students, all of them became doctors. All of them passed their exams and became doctors, and now they are graduated, and they will go to the world and find work, and etc., etc. So all of them pass, but if we look closely, some of them pass with 70 mark, some of them pass with 80, some with 90, and some with 100. All of them are doctors, although they had different understanding of their subjects, but only one in the whole generation gets an honorific mention, isn't it? Only one, they give the honorific mentions from the whole generation. And he told me, imagine, in terms of understanding the Four Noble Truths and purifying the mind, all the Arahants with different degrees of understanding and practice, all the Arahants are the ones who pass in different degrees of their understanding, and the honorific mention is the Sammāsambuddha. And then I understood. The Sammāsambuddha is also an Arahant, was an Arahant, and even beyond it. And he is much more qualified and knowledgeable, to the degree that, let's say the university burns down, something, big catastrophe, earthquake, the university falls down. If we have many doctors, if they just pass with 80, 90, or even 100, they won't be able to rebuild the university, even the how you say, the curriculum. They won't be able to make it. But the Sammāsambuddha has this ability that even if the whole Sāsana, the whole Dhamma disappears, burns down, the Sammāsambuddha has so much knowledge that he can bring back the university. He knows what needs to be taught for beings to be graduated again. He clearly gives examples on what you need to do, builds the university, and the Sāsana starts again. This is why, my dear family, they are different, and this is why the Buddha is so precious. Because the Buddha brought the Dhamma, the Sāsana, back to life after a long process of darkness, let's say 3,000, 4,000 years ago, or whatever world they were, eons and eons, long periods of time. And he came to this world, he knew there are beings who can understand, and decided to teach the Dhamma. So this is one of the most important things to know about the Sammāsambuddha. So how you find this example? Is it clear? Thinking about the graduation. Nice, no, it really is stuck in my mind, and it's very useful to understand. I understand. The Buddha is the most outstanding student of all of them. Let's move to the next part, which is exploring what is a Paccekabuddha. I mentioned what is a Paccekabuddha. And now we will see also the differences, as we did with the Sammāsambuddha and the Arahant. Now let's see what is a Paccekabuddha. There is not just one kind of Buddha. There is another kind of Buddha, that there can be many at one time, not like the Sammāsambuddha, can be only one at a time. But the Paccekabuddhas, they can be many, and they appear in times when there is no Sāsana, when there is no Sammāsambuddha around. So they appear in the moments of darkness. So you will see why also, their characteristics. What are their characteristics? So let's start with the word. That's the easiest way. So here we have one of our many Paccekabuddhas that they can arise in this world. And then Paccekabuddha, let's start with the meaning of the word. Pacceka and then Buddha. We have two pieces, and Pacceka is also divided into two parts. The first part, Patti, which means each, and Eka, Ekagata, which means one. Ekagata, one-pointedness, maybe you have heard this word before, talking about concentration. And then Pacceka is Patti, Eka, each one, or meaning, the translation that is often given, solitary, by himself, individual, or separate. Somebody that is by himself individually. We see Pacceka and then I say Patti, but don't worry, this is because of the grammar rules of Pali. We won't get into details. And then we have Buddha, which we already saw, with the coming from the root Bud and plus the termination ta, which means to wake up or to know. So this is a solitary Buddha, or an awakened one who is solitary by himself, separated, or a Buddha on his own. That is the meaning of Paccekabuddha. So, Paccekabuddha, or a solitary Buddha, that Buddha also understands the Four Noble Truths, and not just understands them, figure them out. He finds the Four Noble Truths by himself. That's why he's a Buddha. He's not an Arahant. He didn't follow the path of a previous Sammāsambuddha. I just mentioned that as Paccekabuddha appears when there is no Sammāsambuddha or no Sāsana. So there is no map for him to follow. So that person cultivates very highly until he understands the Four Noble Truths without a teacher or a guide. He understands Paticca But one of the things, and it's a little bit sad, we can say, a Paccekabuddha dies without proclaiming the truth or the Dhamma to the world. He's unable to teaching others to become an Arahant or enlightened. It is not that he cannot, he has the knowledge, but the conditions around him do not permit. Let's say he becomes a Buddha, a Paccekabuddha, solitary Buddha, but there is nobody around to teach. That's why he's by himself. So if he knows the Four Noble Truths, but there is no students to learn them, he cannot help nobody. Also, his ability, I have to say, and you will see why, it is less than the Sammāsambuddha. So he cannot teach others because the conditions are not there. And since he cannot teach others, he cannot establish a sasana or a Buddha's dispensation or leave a Sangha. That is one of the big differences between a solitary Buddha and a Sammāsambuddha. Our Buddha, Buddha Gautama, he left a sasana, the Dhamma, declared it, made it turn, and also left a Sangha. All of us, the monks, all my teachers and my teachers, continue exploring and explaining the Dhamma to others. So that is one of the main differences between them. So that means that a Paccekabuddha cannot make the Dhamma wheel turn. He cannot turn the Dhamma wheel. So, among both of them, again, we have some similarities. They know the Noble Truths fine by themselves, but as I said before, the Sammāsambuddha understanding is way higher because it has omniscience. The Sammāsambuddha can know many things, and we will see what kind of things are there, and he's supreme in compassion. Imagine how compassionate the Buddha was. He already finished. He can die as an Arahant. He can die as a Sammāsambuddha, even better. Why did he took the trouble to stay for 45 teaching every day to so many people? As you remember, he was abused. Many people tried to fight him, even tried to assassinate him, to kill him. His own cousin tried to kill him, and then with Nalagiri, and we know all the stories. Why did he get into so much troubles to teach the Dhamma until he got old and many difficulties in 2,500 years ago? If there was not a deep sense of compassion, how can somebody become a Sammāsambuddha and stay teaching stubborn humans like you and I? Aren't we stubborn? Aren't our mental negativity stubborn? Our desire and attachment. No, I like this. This is my pencil. No, don't take it away. This is mine. This is mine. Imagine the patience, the compassion that the Buddha must have. No, my dear, it is not yours. It's just borrowed. When you die, the pencil will stay, etc. And to go deep and deep until make people understand. Compassion, Mahakaruna. So that is one of the big differences. Omniscience and Mahakaruna, that the Paccekabuddha, he has nobody to practice compassion in some of the cases. There are many. And then, but one thing that when the Paccekabuddhas interacted with other beings, they can teach Dana, they can teach Sila, the benefits of generosity, the benefits of morality, and even Bhavana. The only thing they cannot teach is how to become enlightened. This is one of the inabilities that they have. Anyway, in another sutta, in the Isigili Sutta, in the Majjhima Nikaya 116, the Buddha again described the qualities of a Paccekabuddha. So, the Buddha described that the Paccekabuddha are beings that are desireless, rid of suffering, ones who each achieve awakening by themselves. This is clear. They found the Four Noble Truths by themselves. They plucked out the dart of suffering, conquered Mara, and desire and attachment. So as you can see, I was saying in the last phrase, honor these sages who, having gone beyond all ties, have attained final nibbana beyond all measure. I just made a very succinct selection of the main qualities. Here the Buddha is describing the qualities of a Paccekabuddha. But he also is describing, you can see the similarities with the Arahant and the similarities with the Sammāsambuddha. They all are desireless. They plague the dart of suffering. They have no last. They achieve peace. They're excellent. And they reach Nibbana. So then we have some more questions. How is it that, what are the difference between the Sammāsambuddha and the Paccekabuddha? Now let's go to the next part. We saw the differences before between starting from the beginning. What is the difference between a Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant? We saw the differences, the level of purity, the level of mental development. That is their differences. And now we saw the difference between an Arahant and a Sammāsambuddha, which is, you remember the university graduation? One can start the university from scratch and the other one just became a doctor, normal doctor. He can practice and is very good and help many people. And now let's take a look to the next one, the difference between a Paccekabuddha and a Sammāsambuddha. If we follow the same example of the plants, let's say the Arahant, the plant is fully grown, and then for a Paccekabuddha, as you know, and a Sammāsambuddha, they are not just a plant, they are a full-grown tree. They give flowers and they give fruit, they are already grown. But one of the things that happens following this same simile, one of the things that happened with the Paccekabuddha, all the fruits and all the seeds that you can find on those fruits, they are not planted. So that tree do not generate offspring. They do not bring arahants anymore. They do not give. This tree is fully grown, has capability, as we saw. But then the Sammāsambuddha is a fully grown tree that gets the flowers, get the fruits, and those seeds found on the fruit are finally planted for the benefit of all of us. The Dhamma is proclaimed. The wheel of the Dhamma is turned back again. The Dhamma appears in the universe, in all the realms, even Devas, even Brahmas come to hear the Buddha. It's something so precious, and many seeds are planted. Right now we are enjoying the seeds of those plants. We are those plants. We are on the way. Our teachers are the fruits of those seeds. So we can rejoice, my dear family. This is the difference between a Paccekabuddha, we can understand. He came to the world, had nobody to teach, maybe not full ability, and his seeds were not planted. They went with him, and the Sammāsambuddha seed stays, and this is what we are taking care of now. Of the Sāsana, through our morality, generosity, support to the Sangha, support to ourselves, mental cultivation, and wisdom. Isn't it beautiful? I like very much when we start contemplating, wow, we are very lucky. Anyway, now we are understanding. We saw the difference and similarities between all of them. Is the idea getting clearer? Let me see you. Is the idea getting clearer? Arahant, Paccekabuddha, Sammāsambuddha. Does it look good? Yes, I see your faces of satisfaction. That brings me joy. It makes all the effort worth it, definitely worth it. Even the preparation is very worthy. I remember many things, learn things, but to see your happy faces now, that is the nobody touch gift. So thank you for that joy. So we already saw differences, similarities, some differences. Let's see a little bit more differences between the Paccekabuddha and the Sammāsambuddha. The Paccekabuddha, normally, as it is heard in the stories, they live in the forest and hills. They are not very social. And the Sammāsambuddha, because of his compassion, he goes from village to village. He looks for people in the morning who is ready to get enlightened. He walks long distances to find them and teach them what they needed to get enlightened. Just a great compassion. Mahakaruna can do that. He goes from city to city, and he does not teach only humans. He teaches devas. He teaches brahmas. They come to hear him, to how he teaches, because they value the teaching very, very highly. So these are another things. As we know, he leaves a sangha. Therefore, he makes a vinaya. Paccekabuddha has no need for giving rules for monks. He has no monks. So he makes no vinaya. But there are 6 knowledges. This is important, and please pay attention. There are 6 knowledges that only the Sammāsambuddha has. And this we can know clearly what are the main differences between the Paccekabuddha and the Sammāsambuddha. So let's explore what these 6 differences are. They are called extraordinary knowledges or jnanas that the Sammāsambuddha possess. Number 1, if you wish to take note, go ahead, or at the end you can take a photo of the screen, which is quite practical and easy. You will have a good graphic note, or you can also check the video later. So the first knowledge that a Sammāsambuddha has, only him, is he knows the faculties of others, especially the spiritual faculties. A Buddha, a Sammāsambuddha, can see any of us, and he knows clearly how much saddha or faith we have, how much concentration, how much wisdom, how much awareness, and how much effort do we have, just to mention a few of the main spiritual qualities. He, a Sammāsambuddha, just by being of the presence of somebody, he knows where that person is. That's why he's so skilled as a teacher. He can teach precisely what the person is lacking. So that is a big difference. A Paccekabuddha cannot do this. Even if he's very knowledgeable and found the Four Noble Truths, cannot know the faculties of others. Next knowledge. A Sammāsambuddha knows the latent tendencies and the disposition of all living beings that he gets in contact. So he will know how much, that would be a little bit, I would get a little bit shy. Imagine the Sammāsambuddha comes to you and he clearly knows how much aversion you have, how much lust you have, how much negativity and mental impurities you have. But as a teacher, obviously, he uses that to give you what you need. That's why he was so skillful. He knows all your asavas. He can see them. He clearly knows where are you, so he can help you to move forward. He knows the dispositions of beings. If that person is drawn towards desire and lust attachment, he knows it. If that person is more dosa type, or if that person is more moha or ignorance type, he clearly knows. So very nice. That's very good for his knowledge, and it's only for him, no Paccekabuddha. Next one, the third one, is the Sammāsambuddha. Only him can perform the twin miracle. You remember the story about the twin miracle when in order to increase the saddha of the people and make some peace around, he appeared fire and water at the same time. Only him, the Sammāsambuddha, can do that. The other one, which I was mentioning before, which I am very grateful, is his unbounded, uncomparable compassion. Mahakaruniko. The great compassion of the Buddha, that even he finished already, he took the trouble to stay and teach all of the people he taught, and leave the sasana and the sangha so all of us can continue 2,500 years after, benefiting from his kindness, from his compassion for all of us to be liberated. Let's take this seriously, appreciating with gratitude this compassion and kindness, and honor it by doing what we need. All of the path, it's beneficial for ourselves. Our morality, we are the first beneficiaries of our morality. Then our family, our co-workers, our society, our concentration and mental stability also. We are the first beneficiaries, and also the people around us. People can work better with us, our family can trust us better. also our wisdom. We are liked everywhere, seeked over to give some advice, and it helps us. So because of all these gifts that the Buddha gave, I think it's very important to often rejoice, appreciate his compassion, that all the work he took to leave us all these tools. The next quality of a Sammāsambuddha is they can know everything at will if they wish. This is something important because you can find that sometimes the Buddha might have even asked questions, or he was in situations where he needed to think about something. So it is not that the Buddha knows everything at once. As you know, we can only think about one thing at a time. If he wishes, he can direct his mind, and with all the wisdom, power, and understanding, and avinyas, supernormal powers of seeing the minds of others, seeing the other realms, etc., he can know everything that he wishes when he directs his attention to that. He didn't taught many things about the world, even about matter or some of the things he didn't, because it was not necessary. He just needed a handful of leaves for us to be liberated. So that's another quality of his. And the last one, number 6, which differentiates him from the Paccekabuddha, is that his knowledge cannot be covered by anything or by nobody. There is no teacher above him. He discovered the Four Noble Truths by himself. Nobody could teach him. Even another Sammāsambuddha cannot exist when he exists. So there is no, he is incomparable. There is no teacher or subject that is higher from his knowledge. He is the top, understanding the universe, and more specifically, how to be free from suffering in the universe, in samsara. So according to that and his knowledge, nobody touch, as my Indian teachers used to say, nobody can touch, nobody can cover or anything the understanding and wisdom of the Buddha. Some of his qualities are anuttara, incomparable, high, great, and all of it, we just don't need to believe it. We are here to prove things. Ehipassiko. Let's prove it. We are already knowing. So if somebody wishes to take a snapshot of the screen, these are the qualities. You don't need to write it. Here it is. Everybody took the photo. I see somebody with the cameras. Yes. Or you can just press there is a way on the phone or in your computer to take a snapshot. It's very useful. Then you later, very quickly, you can. Okay, I'm moving, erasing the whiteboard. Here we go. Okay, everybody took. Okay, good, my dear family. We are moving well. So here comes some magic. Would you be ready for some magic? The thing is that Arahant, Paccekabuddha, and Sammāsambuddha, they are actually related. They were worldling, like any of us, appear in the world. They developed and they became first an Arahant, then a Paccekabuddha or a Sammāsambuddha. So the magic here, the good news is that we all have the same potential. You and I can become an Arahant. You and I, if wished and worked what is necessary to be done, can become even a Sammāsambuddha. It's a choice that we need to make. So I know some of you likes to see information more organized. So I prepared for today, and we are reaching almost the end of the session. Time is good. Time is good. I need to rush a little bit now. But anyway, you can take a snapshot. In this graph, we have all the similarities and differences between an Arahant, Paccekabuddha, Sammāsambuddha. All of them are free from attachment, aversion, and ignorance. All of them understood the Four Noble Truths. All of them saw directly, understood, and experienced anicca or dukkha or anatta, which is a three-door room. If you understand anicca, the other ones pop up, or you can go through one, or you understand the three of them. And all of them attain nibbana. Until there, all the similarities. Now, the ones who not just understand the Four Noble Truths, but discover them, is only the Pacceka and the Sammāsambuddha. Now on the last one, the one who has the 6 special knowledges, which we saw right now, only the Sammāsambuddha. The one who can lead others towards Nibbana and full enlightenment, freedom from suffering, is only a Sammāsambuddha. And the only one who can make the Dhamma wheel turn, meaning living a sasana, bringing the Dhamma to life, teaching it, living a Sangha, and making the Vinaya and etc., is only a Sammāsambuddha. So here, I know some of you like to have information more clear. Here it is. There are more things. The most difficult part to prepare this class was not what to bring in. It was what to take out. I was like, oh, this is also very nice, but cannot say everything. And already a lot of things, as you can see. Anyway, this is, you have, take please a snapshot. Here I go, I will move on. So as I was saying, my dear family, to finish up, if we all have this potential, we have, as we saw before, the mental spectrum. We can have a worldly mind, we can have a sublime mind through meditation, or we can even get enlightened. My question to you all is, and this is serious, and I will ask you, this is time to put on your spiritual safety belts. Everybody, please put on your spiritual safety belts, because we might experience some spiritual turbulences. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you up for it? Otherwise, if you don't want, you can do like this. You can cover like the monkeys, you know, like this. You can cover if you don't want, but put on your safety belts, spiritual safety belts. We have this potential from the lowest, from desire and lust and anger, impatience, which we experience from time to time, isn't it? We are still there, sometimes there. Then we also do kusala, we also meditate, and our mind is more refined. We might get into the jhanas and our mind is more refined, and we might also, hopefully soon, get enlightened. The question is, what will be your choice? And I'm talking personally and seriously. My dear brother, my dear sister, what is your choice? What will be your choice? With the time we have, having such potential to become even a Sammāsambuddha or an Arahant, even that, it's a great purity, having such potential. Are we really planning to spend our life swiping up and down in the phone, looking at Facebook, social media, which is something that is happening a lot, thinking only about food? What are we going to eat later, tomorrow? I mean, it's fine. We need to think about it. But only thinking about that, how is the preparations for the New Year, Chinese New Year? The big questions for New Year, what are we going to eat, right? It's okay. But how much time are we willing, with this potential and life getting shorter and shorter each day, do we only want to continue looking for pleasure, or only be thinking about work or working? My dear family, and it's a call for myself. I also put the safety belt myself. I make this question often. Wow, how do I want to spend the time that I have left? We are not so young. Am I going to develop? Should I do that worldly things, those worldly things? Or should I try to develop the mind in morality, mental stability, wisdom, and eventually freedom? And I make the question, and here we are as a family. My dear family, what will be your choice? It's something that we need to stop and very sincerely ask ourselves often, because the mind changes. So please write it down, make a sticky note, put it onto, I will ask you, please put it into the mirror of your bathroom, because we go many times to the bathroom and we will see that note. What will be your choice? What is your choice? Put that with a question mark, and you will see that many blessings will come into your life, even to your family. Maybe your children will come, Mama, Papa, what is this that you put on the bathroom? And then you explain, well, this is we have, our life is finite and we need to choose what is going to be your choice. You ask them, wow. Ask them also to put the safety belts before you ask. Same as I did. Don't do it without safety. So I was asked that question. To finish up, I want to share a story. Time is good. I was asked that question by my preceptor, by the most venerable Bhante, Sayadaw Unandamala. I want to show you a picture of him. Here he is. Sorry. Here I am. I think this was maybe, a few years ago. I don't remember. Well, I am with my preceptor, and we were taking a course, an Abhidhamma course. And then at one time, as we were there, he stopped and asked us. He was talking about Arahant and Sammāsambuddha. And then he stopped and asked all the group the same question. What will be your choice? What do you want to do in life? He was already talking about the good side, not just worldly, but already on the good side. Do you want to become an Arahant, or you want to become a Sammāsambuddha? And humbly, all of us gave whatever we could say, or our thoughts. He waited for all of us in the group, one by one. But then you can imagine at the end, when we all finished, wow, I was dying inside. But my teacher, what does he want? But he's a very respected teacher. He 80-something years. Imagine, he has 63 years ordained as a monk, and he was ordained when he was 9 years old. So he has his whole life as a monk, and very developed, very knowledgeable. So I became as small as I could. I became small, and then I asked, I couldn't keep it in. I said, Sayadaw, and you, what would you like to do? And he actually stopped. That was a little bit shocking for me, because he stopped, he leaned back on his chair, and he started thinking. And then he said, wow, to become a Sammāsambuddha is something very difficult, and you need to make a lot of sacrifices. He said, I'm not sure if I can plug my eyes for the benefit of others, because as you know, in the Jataka stories, there is a moment where to show this compassion, the Buddha does many things in his previous lives. Anyway, he said, I don't know. And then he says something that is the thing that I want to leave you, my dear family. It has been a gem, a treasure in my life. He said something very beautiful. He turned to us and said, actually, I'm trying to cross the sea of suffering, but my boat is big. Whoever wishes to cross together with me, we cross together. Wow, when he said that, I'm trying to cross the sea of suffering, but my boat is big. Whoever wishes to cross, we go together. And at that moment, even now I feel goosebumps. Every time I remember this, isn't it beautiful? I can see already some of you. Isn't it wonderful what he said? I'm trying to cross, but I will bring as many as I can, because my boat is big. My compassion boat is big. My wisdom boat is big. Let's cross together. And at that time, I said, Sadhu. Everybody said Sadhu quietly first, because it was so deep. And then I said, yes, Bhante. Yes, Sayadaw. This is the path I wish to follow. So, as humble as I can, as in the degree that one can, I'm trying to follow that. I think it's a beautiful and wonderful answer that Sayadaw gave. Let's all try in our ways. Cross the sea of suffering. We are trying. That's why we are here. That's why we do and study and want to go to India and get better in the Dhamma. And let's help as many people as we can. But remember, first, we must be standing firmly. We cannot help somebody if we are not standing firmly first. We first establish ourselves in sila. We first establish ourselves in mental stability and wisdom. Then, as much as we can, on the way, we help as much as we can, being very clear, saying what we know and what we don't know, being hopefully able to show the people where it is on the scriptures. That would be greater. And we fulfill our potential for our benefit and for the benefit of the many as much as we can. We can purify our mind and go to Arahantship. That is our choice, free from samsara, and help on the way. But also, my dear family, don't lose your focus. If you wish to liberate as an Arahant, keep the focus on the development. We help as much as we go, as much as we can. And as Sayadaw Nandamalaji said, we are trying, I am trying to cross the sea of suffering, but my boat is big. Let's try to make our boats bigger with wisdom, sila, and samadhi, generosity. Make, my dear family, your boat bigger and bigger so more people can be benefited, but never lose the course. We are going through liberation. I think, I don't know, I guess you might think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. This is what I'm trying. At least let's get to Sotapanna. We know what it is, at least the first stage. So we close the lower doors. At least this is what my teachers many times told you. Don't worry, just go. If you don't get Arahant, don't worry, but at least get Sotapanna. Touch Nibbana at least once. So we close the lower realms, no more animal, no more peta, no more health or anything, only forward as human, devas or brahmas, whatever. So we close, and then we have 7 more lives or so. So let's try, my dear family. And I want to close up the session with that, with my best wishes as a family. So may we all take wise choices. The question was, what are you planning to do with the time you have left? Just live for sensual pleasures and the world? Or cultivate and purify our minds until we reach to mental purity? May we all choose wisely. Family be benefited by wise choice, teachers, co-workers, and all the society at large, humanity at large. We share the merits from our sincerity, our mental cultivation, studies. We rejoice in it and share it with all beings. We remember our mother and father, Mama, Papa, thank you very much. May you be well wherever you are, even if you're not present. May you have the best conditions for your body and have the mind at peace. We remember our children, grandchildren, if you have a long and safe life. We share the memory of practice. We remember our brothers and sisters. May they be safe and with the mind at peace. Our friends and all the people we will never meet. And we include all the people that we have had problems in the past. May all of them be free. May all of them be safe. So from my side, the session is over. The explanation and exploration of what is an Arahant, what is a Paccekabuddha and a Sammāsambuddha. I hope we learn new things or refresh things. And thank you, everybody. Let's then continue with the questions. Go ahead, please.
The question is, how do we know that the Paccekabuddha is less in wisdom, compassion, and ability to teach? Maybe because after attaining enlightenment, just like the Sammāsambuddha, surveyed the world and saw that the bulk of people will not understand what we have to teach and hence resigned to not teach. Our Buddha also almost made the decision to not teach.
Yes, what we know about everything comes from the scriptures, whatever we can find in the suttas, and also in the Abhidhamma and commentaries. So in the Jataka tales, there is many tales, many suttas speak about the Buddha himself. In the Digha Nikaya, speaks about his previous lives. So we have built up, or our teachers have built up all this information through all what we got in written form or through speech. So yes, it is known that the ability of the Paccekabuddha, even arising when they arise, the Sammāsambuddha knows the right time when he arises. It's not a coincidence that the Sammāsambuddha knows that there are beings, and there are beings that he can help, and he arises in the world, in the human world, because we are in the middle. We suffer, but we also know happiness. So it is easy to explain to humans. beings lower than us suffer much more, so it's much more difficult to ask them to practice meditation. They need to eat, they need to run away from the perils or the dangers they have around, so it is hard to teach the lower realms. The higher realms, they have so much pleasure, they don't have body in some of their cases, so they have no sickness. When the Buddha comes and teach, there is suffering. What suffering? I am fine, so it will be harder. So it comes with the human, so the Sammāsambuddha knows clearly. So the ability of the Sammāsambuddha is greater to know when to arrive, at what time, when beings are ready to know. And for the Paccekabuddha, they have less qualities so much that they appear in a time of darkness and they are not needed also. So what we know about the ability of the Paccekabuddhas comes from the scriptures and the commentaries. And it is known, and also I suppose, even just making a speculation right now, the very experience that they will get by teaching others is not exercised. So of course, as we know, the more a teacher teaches, the more skillful it gets. So I suppose that is also can be considered as a factor. It's a personal comment, but anyway, when you said that the Buddha almost didn't teach, this is a little bit tricky. Because actually, we can say, actually, our own Buddha, Gautama, could have been a Paccekabuddha. If he decided, you remember, when he got enlightened, he saw that what he needed to teach is so sublime and so difficult to understand, because the people is so attached. Imagine, 2,500 years ago, so distracted. Imagine in our times, more difficult, more distractions, that he thought maybe they will not understand. Actually, we couldn't think that the Buddha could have become a Paccekabuddha. Theoretically, we can say so, but actually, the Buddha knows when to come. And part of why he was hesitating, because indeed it is hard to make other people let go. This is one of the most difficult things to do. We have already tried, and you can see in ourselves how hard it is. The Buddha knew how hard to teach will be, but he knew that, or already knew that there were some people that could understand. That's why he arose in that time. But remember that even teachers now, not to say the Sammāsambuddha, they also require to be requested to teach. The teacher never enforces us, oh, okay, sit down, I will teach you this, and here, and that. That the Dhamma cannot enter in that way. That's why even on Sunday, when we go or people go to the monastery, people say, "Oh casa, oh casa, oh casa, ham Bante, please Bante, could you give me the precepts, or could you even to make a Dhamma talk?" So actually, the Buddha was a Sammāsambuddha already from the beginning. He knew very well his encompassing understanding. He knew the capability, but the petition was needed. So that is good. Thank you for the question. It's a very good one, because it's something that I myself have been confused in the past, and I went with my teachers and they clarified it. So the Sammāsambuddha from the beginning is a Sammāsambuddha. There was no danger for him to become a Paccekabuddha, and as we saw, their differences are great. As we saw in the University of Enlightened Beings, there are different categories of understanding. Yeah, I hope it gets a little bit clearer.
Before the Buddha get enlightenment, while he's still seeking for the truth, is it possible that Paccekabuddha appeared at that time?
No, as it was mentioned today, apparently a Paccekabuddha cannot appear when the Buddha is present. Now, you say when he's, you mean before, in the lives previous of the Buddha, you mentioned, that is the question? Let's say the Buddha has not yet appeared in this era. So the Buddha is cultivating somewhere to become a Sammāsambuddha. Yeah. That is the question. Yes, in that case, if in the world the Dhamma is not turning, there is no, the Sāsana is not moving on, then the Paccekabuddhas can come. And obviously, because the Buddha, it takes many lives for him to be training and developing his mental abilities and wisdom and all, as it is said in some commentaries. It's a little bit controversial about the paramis, fulfilling the paramis, as it is said in that scheme. Although all those qualities, is known that the Buddha developed them to the utmost. We can see it also in many suttas. He praises all the qualities that are included in the scheme of the paramis, but in the suttas we cannot find, at least in the four Nikayas, in the Khuddaka Nikaya we can find some things which I mean, there are some, I just saying there are some controversial things there, We don't find the scheme, but the qualities are praised everywhere. Renunciation, dana. So all of that the Buddha needed to be cultivating, if the sasana is not on, yes, the Paccekabuddhas can arise, and many at once. In this sutta that I shared today, it is even spoken of 500 Buddhas, and it is described the name of 13 of them. So many can arise because there is no sasana and no Sammāsambuddha alive. Then they go away, they pass away, then the Sammāsambuddha comes, the sasana is established, no Paccekabuddha, as far as we know, arise. Does that covers the question?
I could understand that is before the appearance of Sammāsambuddha. But my question is about the timing. I mean, during the last birth of Buddha, I mean he get I mean, when he was born as a human being and he's cultivating, just before he get enlightened, that period of time, is there any chance that Paccekabuddha can arise?
As far as we know, no, it's not possible, because he is already about to become, he already born in this life. So as far as we know, no.